Shalom and good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcasting to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, U.S. President Donald Trump announces his preparedness to meet with Iranian officials with no preconditions, while Iran continues to reject any dialogue. Russian President Vladimir Putin stresses that dialogue with his American counterpart Donald Trump was vital to fulfill demands of interests of all states in the Middle East, including Israel, Turkey, Iran, and Syria. The Syrian military continues to make gains along its border with Israel and Jordan, with its last accomplishment over the weekend, when Al-Qaeda-linked groups withdrew from the border city of Quneitra, located just several kilometers from Israel. U.S. President Donald Trump announced his preparedness to meet with Iranian officials with no preconditions, assessing, however, that the Islamic Republic is not yet ready to renegotiate its nuclear program. During a joint press conference with visiting Italian Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte, President Trump emphasized a dialogue that aims to avert a potential conflict remains a top priority of his administration, as long as Washington's enemies are willing to pursue meaningful solutions, contrary to the 2050 nuclear deal that was formulated under the Obama administration, a multinational agreement that Trump referred to as a waste of paper.
I would certainly meet with Iran if they wanted to meet. I don't know that they're ready yet. They're having a hard time right now. But I ended the Iran deal. It was a ridiculous deal. I do believe that they will probably end up wanting to meet, and I'm ready to meet anytime they want to. And I don't do that from strength or from weakness. I think it's an appropriate thing to do. If we could work something out that's meaningful, not the waste of paper that the other deal was, I would certainly be willing to meet.
Several hours before Trump's statement, however, Iran's foreign ministry spokesman Bahram Qasemi asserted that the policies pursued by the U.S. administration thwart any possibility of dialogue and engagement, further accusing the United States of proving itself to be totally unreliable. That said, a senior U.S. official told TV7 that the ongoing deterioration of Iran's economy and its overall hardships will ultimately force the Iranian leadership to renegotiate an agreement, whether they like it or not. The official further emphasized that the longer the Iranians wait, the weaker they will start negotiating. On the matter of a possible escalation, the official noted that the United States has the tools to paralyze the Islamic Republic at any time of its choosing. That said, the Trump administration clearly pursues a path of diplomacy under a crippling sanctions regime that aims at choking Tehran's economy. The announced sanctions are scheduled to take effect mid-next week, leading to an exodus of major global corporations withdrawing their business dealings from the Islamic Republic. The flight of major corporations led to a decision by Iran's leadership to dismiss the country's central bank governor, Valiollah Saif, accusing him of failing to advance with countermeasures against international attacks targeting Tehran's weakening economy. Meanwhile, in another desperate attempt to thwart additional economic measures against the Ayatollah regime, President Hassan Rouhani threatened his American counterpart Donald Trump at the beginning of last week about pursuing hostile policies against Tehran, asserting that the war with Iran is the mother of all wars.
به این سه وزیر خارجه اروپایی تلفنی هم تهران بودن. ما دعوا نداریم. ما نمیخوایم بجنگیم با اونا. اما اونا باید خوب بفهمن. اونا باید خوب بفهمن که جنگ با ایران مادر جنگ هاست. خوب باید بفهمن صلح با ایران مادر صلح هاست. اینا باید درک کنن.
In response to the Iranian threat, President Donald Trump released a statement on his Twitter account which read, "Never ever threaten the United States again or you will suffer consequences, the likes of which few throughout history have ever suffered before." Now to the South African city of Johannesburg, where Russian President Vladimir Putin stressed a dialogue between the United States and the other parties of the 2050 nuclear agreement, including Iran, Russia, China, France, Britain, and Germany, was imperative to preserve the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, a multinational deal the Russian leader claimed remains an effective instrument to curb the arms race and spread of weapons of mass destruction.
эффективный инструмент сдерживания гонки вооружений и расползания оружия массового уничтожения. Но это предмет споров, предмет, может быть, переговоров, но как они могут быть реализованы, если их нет реально? По телефону обо всем не скажешь.
President Putin further asserted that the meeting he held with his American counterpart in Helsinki was useful, including on the matter of Syria, which Putin emphasized demands the satisfaction of all interests of all states in the region, including Israel, Turkey, Iran, and Syria itself.
Да, у нас есть контакты на рабочем уровне, но этого иногда недостаточно. Нужны контакты на высшем политическом уровне. Нам нужно удовлетворить интересы всех государств региона, и самой Сирии, и Ирана, и Израиля, и Турции, и многих других государств региона.
The interests of Israel do not hold precedence over Iran's role in supporting the Assad regime, a fact that was made clear by Russia's ambassador to Israel, Anatoly Viktorov. In an interview to Israeli media, the Russian diplomat stressed that Moscow cannot force Iranian forces to withdraw from Israel's northern neighbor, while underscoring the Kremlin's position, in which the Iranians are playing a very important role in efforts to eliminate terrorist militias in Syria. Ambassador Viktorov further emphasized that Iran's presence in Syria has full legitimacy in accordance with the principles of the UN Charter. That said, the Russian ambassador reiterated that while Moscow is willing to discuss with Tehran its full withdrawal from Syria, as Israel demands, it will not and cannot force a decision on the Islamic Republic. Now to the ongoing conflict in Syria, where the Syrian military continues to make gains along its border with both Israel and Jordan. After government forces managed to liberate some 14 villages and towns, its last accomplishment over the weekend, when Al-Qaeda-linked groups withdrew from the border city of Quneitra, located just several kilometers from Israel.
اسمها قنيطرة المهدمة. قام الجيش بتحريرها وطرد المجموعات الإرهابية ونقوم الآن بتمشيط المنطقة كاملة من العبوات والمفخخات.
اليوم طبعا اليوم مثل ما حكينا تاريخي في سوريا. اليوم العالم العربي السوري يرفرف فوق سماء القنيطرة الغالية على قلوبنا جميعا.
Meanwhile, near the Syrian border with Jordan, the Syrian regime announced that it had managed to drive out the Islamic State from the Yarmouk Basin after the extreme Muslim group held that area for the past several years. That said, Islamic State militants continue to roam around the area, just several days after it launched a massive raid against the Druze city of Asweda, killing more than 250 local residents, mostly civilians. Now to the Egyptian capital Cairo, where President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi addressed the Israeli public, stressing that the current reality provided a rare opportunity for peace and real stability in the region by finding a true solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The Egyptian president noted at a speech he gave at a conference in Cairo that this was a solution that would not lessen Israel's stability and security. Al-Sisi further asserted that Egypt supports all of the rules and resolutions provided by the United Nations regarding the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and that Egypt has been quietly playing its role with the relevant sides. Thank you for watching us. You can also watch us at tv7israelnews.com or tv7.fi. For any comments, please send your emails to israelnews@tv7.fi. For more updates from Israel and its region, please join our Facebook page and YouTube channel at TV7 Israel News. Praying for the peace of Israel and the peace of Jerusalem. I'm Jonathan Hassan of Erev Tov. We will see you again tomorrow at the same time.